Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs win. Cry, Eagles, cry.
Great, excited to be back early.
You know, every day I got the Three Stooges in the studio with me is a good fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's make sure he gets that bag.
Frauds! Woo!
Justin's way ahead in picks. That's all that you need to fucking know.
Show's over.
Show's over. We're going home.
I would like to welcome you back to another page of the Playbook Sports Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 32 NFL offseasons in 32 days. Yesterday, we talked about the New England Patriots. Today, day number 23, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans, gone are the days of an electrifying offense led by the great Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And ever since those two left, they just have not been the same team. I will say, I was surprised that they got even a first-round pick for Sean Payton this offseason, especially considering he was done. Like, he was retired. He wasn't going to coach for them anymore. And you guys got a first-round pick for that? That is good business. So just a real quick pat on the back for you, Saints. You guys turned a guy who wasn't going to do a single thing more for your franchise into a first-round pick. Now, what'd you do with that first-round pick? We'll talk about that shortly here. In the last few seasons, the Saints have really gone from an offense first to a defense first mentality. Just in the last 5 seasons, they have not had a season where they allowed over 22 points per game. That's fantastic. Unfortunately for the Saints and Saints fans, that has not yet yielded anything of note. And to couple that with the fact that the Saints go into every single offseason with like negative $70 million in cap space, they still manage to somehow make moves every single offseason. So I don't understand the cap at all. It's definitely fake, 90% fake. Definitely 90% fake in my opinion, and you can always make it work. Going into this offseason, the NFC South QBs were obviously bottom of the barrel. The big question was, which team is going to shake it up and give themselves the best chance to win this very, very weak division? So let's go ahead and talk about what the Saints did this offseason to try to make sure that it will be them winning the South this year and not any of the other teams. Key additions. Obviously, the big one, the big fish of the offseason for the Saints was adding quarterback Derek Carr. After getting benched last year in Las Vegas, Carr has still had a really solid career. I don't think last year was his fault. I'm not big on Josh McDaniel. Go watch one of the first videos we put out for this entire show. I said I don't believe in the Raiders because I don't believe in Josh McDaniel. It was a pretty big contract for Derek Carr, 4 years, $150 million. But guys, look around the NFL and the contracts that these people are getting. That's actually a pretty good deal for a starting caliber quarterback. So I think last year was less on Derek Carr and more on Josh McDaniel, but we'll definitely find out this season. Other additions that the Saints have made include Foster Moreau at tight end, who will already have a pretty good rapport with Derek Carr because they played together. And I also like the addition of Jamal Williams, who is coming off of nothing short of an absolutely fantastic season where he put up over 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns. Good Lord. That man was an absolute goal line vulture, and I'm so sorry if you're a DeAndre Swift owner in fantasy because you hated Jamal Williams. But I think that adding him was a really good insurance policy for if/when Kamara gets suspended. It just depends on how long Kamara's out for. But obviously Williams just showed last year that he could do it, so it's a great pickup. Key losses. It seems like the Saints may be trying to shift their philosophy back towards offense, especially when you look at the losses this offseason. They let former first-round pick Marcus Davenport walk. They let him go, and he got such a cheap contract in Minnesota. I just don't understand why more teams weren't in on Marcus Davenport, honestly. That was a real cheap deal, and that's a blow for him because he's been at least a pretty solid edge rusher for them throughout his whole career. They also let David Onyemata go, a solid defensive tackle for them, especially last season. He put up good numbers. He ended up with 43 total tackles and 5 sacks, which are pretty solid. And then they also let Shai Tuttle and Caden Ellis both go, which, again, just created more holes on their defense that they had to fill. And this was a team that was struggling offensively, and defense was their strength. And then they just let these 4 players I named go, who all had significant playing time last year if they weren't starters. But how'd they fill that? Let's talk draft. With the pick that they got for Sean Payton, they immediately plugged one of those holes, taking Brian Brzee, defensive tackle out of Clemson. He was an absolute monster at Clemson at times. I want to say Dabo Swinney came out and said that he was the best player on one of those defenses that won a lot of games. And he was. I mean, you just watch him. He was an absolute menace on the defensive line. Look at his high school tape as an offensive lineman. It's hilarious. Just throwing kids around. He could have been a fantastic offensive lineman if he wanted to. And you know what? The guy has been through so much in his life that you can't help but root for him. I find myself pulling for him to have a fantastic season for the Saints. And I really do think he'll succeed on that defense because they know what they're doing over there. With their second round pick, once again, we have a hole. Let's plug it. With the 9th pick of the second round, they took Isaiah Foskey, edge rusher out of Notre Dame. Super athletic. Normally you get these guys, especially in the second round, you either draft production or traits. They got a guy that had both. Isaiah Foskey has all the size to be very, very good in the NFL. Super athletic. But then he also put up 14 TFLs and 11 sacks last season. That's fantastic. He will step right into the hole left by Marcus Davenport and immediately fill it, and is young, and I think he's going to be really good. That was a great day 2 pick. And then I also like Kendre Miller, the running back, in the 3rd round. I think that he can just step right in if Jamal Williams isn't last year's Jamal Williams and he's more of the Jamal Williams we all knew before, or if Kamara is suspended for longer than expected. That's not a bad pick to make there. A weird pick. Jake Hayner taking a quarterback. I guess it's not weird. I guess he's weird and not the pick itself. I do like his tape. I think he could be a solid quarterback, solid backup quarterback, let's say. He just had one of the weirdest photo sessions. I'll pop it up on the screen for you to look at that I've ever seen for a rookie player have. I don't know what was going on with that. Whatever. He's different. It's interesting. And fun fact, it is interesting to me that he's from Fresno State, same place Derek Carr's from. Not that matters in the slightest. It's just a little tidbit for you. And then their 6th round pick, A.T. Perry, wide receiver. I think that was a great pick. I think he is one of the classic boomer bust prospects. I think he could be really, really good, and he could also be out of the league in 2 seasons. Similar to Preston Williams when he went to Miami, there were people like, hey, this guy's a freak. He could be awesome. And then he was real solid his rookie year for us on a team that had no talent at all. And now I don't know where he is. He might not be in the league anymore, and it's been about 3 seasons. So yeah, A.T. Perry could be awesome, and he could be terrible. It's got good size, decent hands, and it's a 6th round pick. I don't mind a flyer there at all in the 6th round. I don't mind that one bit. Honestly, guys, huge fan of what the Saints did in this draft. The picks that they made, I think they crushed them. They drafted, it's one of those rare instances where need and want and best player available just kind of all mesh. Hey, we need a defensive tackle, and Brian Brzee has fallen right into our laps. Fantastic, let's do it. I really like their picks. I think that they've got at least 2 day 1 starters in Isaiah Foskey and Brian Brzee on that defensive line. I love it. I like what they're doing. I give their draft an A. Overall, this offseason, the Saints once again somehow managed to work salary cap magic and not just add depth pieces or re-sign their players. They brought in a $150 million quarterback. They're paying him $37 million a year, and they somehow managed to squeeze that in underneath the cap. I don't know how they do it. Whoever's keeping their books there is an absolute genius, because he does it they do it every single season, guys. They do it every single season. I want to say the last 4 seasons, they've gone into the offseason with the least amount of cap space, and here they are, still doing the thing, still signing their players. So it's crazy how they do that. For their offseason, overall, I give them an A-. Now let's talk about them as a team and maybe some expectations too. I appreciate what the Saints did and the fact that they recognize the level of talent within the division, and I think the Saints understand that their best chance at winning the NFC South for who knows how long is this season. This is their chance to win just the South. I'm not talking Super Bowl run. I'm not talking crazy. I'm just saying their best chance to win the NFC South is this upcoming season, because Tom Brady's out in Tampa. He's gone. No longer in Tampa Bay. Falcons are throwing Desmond Ridder out there, who I don't believe in. And the Panthers have a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young starting on a team that has low talent on the offensive side of the ball. The Saints are the most complete roster in that division by a mile, and they unquestionably have the best quarterback for this season in that division as well. I think, honestly, Saints, it's now or never. If you don't win the division title this season, you're not going to for a while. I'm not even talking like when I say their window is now, I mean their division window. Their Super Bowl window is it is so locked shut, it's not even funny. But their division window is open right now, but that thing is going to close very, very quickly. So now or never, Saints. Best of luck to you. That's all I've got for you guys on the New Orleans Saints offseason. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will be back at it tomorrow with day number 24.